Hello everyone, my name is Rizki Fauzia from Politeknik Negeri Malang. The title of my presentation is Annotated Translation of Curriculum Terminology in Indonesian Academic Transcript. So this presentation is based on my experience in translating academic transcript from Indonesia into English. At that time, I encountered some difficulties, especially in translating terminology related to Indonesian curriculum into English. All right, without further ado, I am going to start my presentation. Prior to starting my presentation, I am going to give you a brief overview of my presentation. It begins obviously with background and objectives, followed by related literature and also previous related studies. The fourth one is methodology, followed by findings, and the last is conclusion. Okay, so the background of my study, I am going to start my presentation with the decree from the Directorate General of Higher Education, number 8, year 2002. Based on this decree, diploma and transcript are issued in Indonesian language. However, the documents can be translated into foreign language, in this case, English, under certain occasion. One of the occasions is when students decided to go abroad to pursue higher education. As we know, the number of Indonesian students studying abroad is increasing from one year to another. It creates demand of translating academic documents from Indonesia to English. Well, translating official document is a challenging task. It happens because such documents contain technical vocabulary, long and complex sentences, terminology that may not have equivalents in target language, and also concept that does not exist in target language. Basically, in translating official document, translator should be able to not only translate ideas from source language to target language, but he or she should also be able to adapt to the system that exists in target language. Consequently, this type of assignment should be conducted by professional translator. Unfortunately, translation of official document in universities becomes responsibility of English lecturers. These lecturers may not have any experience in translation. As the result, it comprises the quality of translation. As an example, lexical and grammatical errors, inconsistent translation, and also the use of literal translation for specific terms. This study has two objectives. The first is to identify difficulties during translation process of academic transcript from Indonesia to English, and the second is to propose plausible solutions to those problems. I believe that most of you, if not all of you, have already been familiar with the definition of translation. Thus, I am going to skip that part and go straight to translation techniques by Newmark. So Newmark proposed three translation techniques. The first is cultural equivalent, the second is descriptive equivalent, and the third one is functional equivalent. Cultural equivalent occurs when translators replace a cultural word in SL with its equivalence in TL. Say, for example, when a translator translated driver's license into surat izin mengemudi when translating English to Indonesia. The second one is descriptive equivalent. Descriptive equivalent occurs when translator provide descriptive explanation of term or expression that doesn't exist in target language. So if a translator is using a descriptive equivalent, then the result of the translation in target language may be longer than that in the source language. The third one is functional equivalent. Functional equivalent means providing explanation on function of an object. So instead of providing description of characteristics of an object, like descriptive equivalent, in functional equivalent, a translator describes or explains function of an object. Okay, the next thing I am going to discuss right here is about terminology. The definition of terminology is a vocabulary of a special subject field. It is commonly found in technical and legal texts. Translating terminology has its own challenges. Several studies have described some obstacles translators encounter while translating terminology. One of the most common difficulties is trying to find an equivalent of a terminology from source language to target language, because the target language does not have such concept, the concept that exists in source language. Thalen in 2015 proposed several steps in translating terminology in a hope to help translators translating terminology accurately. The first is to decode the meaning of a source language and then retain the meaning as much as possible and encode it in a target language. The second is translate source text terms by standard target language. So basically you should find the equivalent term, which may not always happen. The third one, if you cannot find equivalent terms, translators should create terms as a translation solution. And the last one is term registration for future use and reference. Now we come to the methodology. So this study is an annotated translation, and the objects are 11 terminologies related to competency-based curriculum found in Indonesian academic transcript. And the procedures of translating those terminologies are, first, the translator, which is myself, read the source text thoroughly in order to gain a complete understanding of the text. The second one is the second one was to compare the source text with similar text to identify technical terms and terminology used in English and English translated academic transcript. The third one was translate the academic transcript and at the same time made notations on all difficulties being encountered during translation process. Thus, it is called annotated translation. The fourth step was to analyze the problems I encountered to find solutions of the problems. And then the fifth one is the final manuscript, when I submitted the English version of the academic transcript to the client. And these are the findings. Okay, the first data is, I had difficulties to translate the term predikat kelulusan. What I did was to consult dictionary, in particular KBBI, to find out the meaning of predikat kelulusan. Based on my reading, I concluded that predikat kelulusan is the level of academic achievement of an alumnus. And the predikat kelulusan is determined by one's GPA. The second thing I did was to go to English monolingual dictionary and to find the, and then I found the word citation. And then I read the meaning of citation, and the word means a formal statement of the achievements of a person receiving an academic honor. So the meaning of citation is similar to that of predikat kelulusan. Therefore, I decided to translate predikat kelulusan as citation instead of predicate. Previously, I read some English translated transcript, and some translated predikat kelulusan as predicate. But when I checked the meaning of predicate in English, it didn't really convey what predikat kelulusan in bahasa Indonesia means. Thus, I decided to translate it into citation. The second issue I encountered is related to the word cukup and also kurang. So the word cukup and kurang are the types of academic citation or the type of predikat kelulusan. For data number 2, that is the word cukup, what I did was I consulted to the website of Indonesian universities with international programs. So while browsing the websites, I also looked at the source text. And then I found out that the word cukup is the third level of academic citation, or the third level of predikat kelulusan. And then based on the websites, I found out that the third level of citation, or the third level of academic lulusan, predikat kelulusan, is satisfactory. Therefore, I decided to translate it cukup into satisfactory. The next issue, the next translation problem I encountered is the word kurang. The word kurang in Indonesia has a rather negative connotation, while graduation is something all students have been looking forward to. So translating kurang into lacking may not be accurate in that sense. Therefore, I decided to use Baker's strategy, that is translation using a more neutral and or less expressive word. So what I did was I retained the word satisfactory, and then I put the word less in front of it. So kurang was translated into less satisfactory. The next difficulties I encountered is related to course cluster. I was not sure how to translate mata kuliah wajib umum and also mata kuliah pilihan mahasiswa. The strategy I used was to consult the official website of universities in English-speaking country. From those websites, I found out that general course has the same meaning as mata kuliah umum. Thus, I decided to translate mata kuliah wajib umum into general course. The word wajib was omitted because general course is a compulsory courses for all students. And then for data number 6, I used the same method and then decided to translate mata kuliah pilihan mahasiswa into elective courses because those two words have similar concept. I decided to omit the word mahasiswa because it has been understood that it's the students themselves who pick out the type of elective courses that they are going to take. The next issue is related to course clusters. So data number 7 through number 11 are 5 course clusters of the core curriculum of bachelor and diploma program. So what I did was I consulted two official documents, and the official document I consulted was the 2000 decree of the Minister of National Education number 23 about competency-based curriculum. I'm sorry, about competency-based curriculum. And from that document, I obtained a lot of information about the objectives of these course clusters. Therefore, I decided to use functional equivalent to translate these course clusters. So, mata kuliah pengembangan kepribadian is translated into character development course, which means a series of course that function to develop students' character. And then mata kuliah perilaku berkarya was translated into work behavior course, which means a series of classes or a series of course of which objective or of which aim is to improve students' behavior at work. Data 9, mata kuliah berkehidupan bermasyarakat, was translated into social skill development course. Courses of which functions are to develop students' social skill. The same procedures were applied for mata kuliah keahlian berkarya and also mata kuliah keilmuan dan keterampilan. So this time I decided to use functional equivalent, unlike the previous cases where I used syntactic equivalent, where I decided the Indonesian translation based on meaning. This time, it was based on function. Now we come to the conclusion. So basically, terminology is a group of specialized words or meanings relating to a particular field. Having encountered difficulties with terminology during translation, the procedures I adopted were: the first, I decoded meaning and retained it as much as possible. The second, I compared similar documents in source language and target language, including official documents. And the last one was I found equivalent terms in target language. In conclusion, the translation strategies I adopted were semantic and functional equivalents. Besides those, I also consulted to official websites and also official documents in order to find or in order to gain as much information as possible about the terminology. That's all from my presentation. Thank you very much.